you know what? You know how many blessings you have in your life? Would you just man up and actually get out there and do
Right.
stuff and stop feeling sorry for yourself? Hello and welcome to Pillars of Wealth Creation, where we talk about creating financial success with a special focus on business and real estate. I'm your host, Todd Dexheimer. Now, let's get to it. Are you ready to start investing in real estate today but don't know where to start? Sometimes investing can seem way too complicated, but it actually couldn't be any easier than with homeinvest.com. You know the co-founder and my friend Nate Armstrong. He appeared on episode 20, and if you haven't heard it, go back and listen to it, episode number 20. Home Invest is a company that allows you to invest in turnkey real estate. Their goal is to build powerful investment tools that make real estate investing accessible to everyone. They have contractors and property managers available for you with the click of your mouse. While other real estate agents can only offer a property, Home Invest brings you a full turnkey package that allows you to diversify your investments, earn passive income, and start building equity in properties. Their simple, intuitive design allows newcomers and experienced investors alike to hit the ground running and to be able to choose the properties when they want and where they want. View easy to understand charts and data to allow you to buy in only a few clicks or just a simple phone call. With Home Invest, you'll be building your portfolio as quickly or as slowly as you would like. And right now, Home Invest is giving our listeners, Pillar of Wealth Creation listeners, a free course on how to finally win in real estate investing. So go to homeinvest.com/pillars. That's homeinvest.com/pillars. to claim your free course today. Hello and welcome to another Hump Day Hustle. I'm your host, Todd Dexheimer, and with me as always is John Stiles with Bridge Realty. John, how are you doing today?
I'm doing wonderful today. Todd, it is a good day to be alive. How about yourself?
Absolutely. I'm doing fantastic. Thank you. Anything new this week, John, with you? Anything new you've learned? Any mistakes you made that you want to talk about?
Not too much is new. Just trying to, we're in the summer real estate market, so trying to find properties for my buyers and trying to get some properties ready to list. So it's interesting. Each situation has its own little intricacies. So it's always a fun time, kind of finding out how to solve different people's problems and how to be the solution for them. So
how to be the magician. Cool. Well, for me, I've been working on a couple things, several things, but one is working on finding somebody to kind of help me out with my properties. I think I mentioned that a couple of weeks ago that I needed to actually do that. And so that's kind of what I've been looking at is can I get somebody to actually help me out on my properties? I either have to hire somebody that's, licensed, that's like a broker or real estate professional, or I have to hire somebody that's on my own payroll. And then with that, of course, there comes challenges because you got to make sure you're compliant and all that. So trying to figure that out, meeting with two people next week to discuss. One person does have their proper licensing, so I wouldn't have to necessarily make them an employee. The other person does not, so I would have to make them an employee. And I don't know that I have a preference. It's just really it depends on who can do the right job, honestly. And then I am also looking at, I want to expand my social media reach. So I'm looking at talking with some people on how to do that. And then lastly, just kind of trying to find someone that can help me do some more marketing as far as getting more properties and make sure I stay on top of that. So those are a couple things. I've actually got a couple guys outside of my house right now as I'm speaking to you, and they're doing some landscaping. But I was talking to one of them, and I said, what are you going to college for? They're college age kids. So what are you going to college for? And he told me he was going for finance and economics. And I said, okay, yeah, what are you going to do with that? And he was talking to me anyway. He said, I want to do an internship next year with RBC Wealth Management. I said, oh, okay. How would you like to do an internship this year with Venture Deep Properties? So I gotta kind of sit down and kind of put together some stuff and see if it's something he wants to do. He was really interested in doing it. So maybe get some projects going for him as well to help underwriting and all that kind of stuff. So kind of some cool stuff. Exciting, want to, of course, expand and continue to grow. So the only way to do that is to bring on the right type of people and bring on more people. So yeah, that's kind of what I got going on right now. One thing I wanted to talk about though, John, today in our episode, one thing in particular, maybe two things. You mentioned something too, so you can introduce that one. But first of all, I want to talk about right now where we're at. And, this episode is going to get released, June 27th. And June 30th is the end of quarter two, which is the halfway point of the year. And everybody, likely most people, have made goals for this year. And they did it at the end of 2017, maybe the beginning of 2018. They said, this is what I want to do. And so now is a good time to reflect. And I think we kind of said that at the end of Q1. We said, hey, quarter way through the year, it's time to reflect. But I think this is the time to honestly just take a look and go, okay, what have I done? And where are my goals? Look back at your goals if you haven't been already and say, okay, this is where I am. What can I do today to make sure that I put in the maximum effort so when, December 20th rolls around and I'm starting to look at 2019 goals, I'm satisfied with 2018 and I'm excited about what I did. And so right now for me, I looked back and at my goals, and one of my goals was to obtain 600 units this year. And as of now, beginning of Q3, I will, assuming everything goes through, I'll have accumulated or purchased just over 200 units. So I still have 400 to go, and not even, well, I got 6 months. So it could happen, definitely could happen still. I'm not going to say it's not going to, and I'm going to do everything in my power to make that happen. But in order for that to happen, I think I need to do a better job. For me, I need to do a better job at making sure I'm connected with brokers. I need to, and being consistent and persistent with brokers, and connecting with more of them, and making sure that I'm following through. I think that's one of probably maybe my biggest things that I struggle with. And I talk about this. I've talked about this before. Is your communication with brokers is important. One of the things I think I struggle with the most is the follow through. They send me a deal, and instead of getting back to them fairly quickly and saying, hey, thanks for this, for sending me this, it doesn't quite fit my criteria for this, or this. Quite oftentimes I'll either, not get back to them. I usually at least get back to them and try to get back to them, but sometimes I don't. And then other times I don't give them enough probably explanation of why I'm not interested. Just sometimes it's like, hey, the numbers don't work. Thanks for sending it to me. But I think it's more important to give them more feedback than that. So that's one thing I have on my list to be very consistent about is connecting. And that's not just brokers, it's anybody. So I need to be connecting with brokers. I need to be reaching out to more property owners and all that kind of stuff. And one of the, if I do all that, John, and the other part I'm going to talk about too, and I don't obtain 600 units this year, I'm going to be satisfied. And that's what you should look at. You set out to do these goals. If you don't hit those goals, are you going to be disappointed or are you going to be satisfied? If you're going to be disappointed, then why? And for me right now, I would be disappointed if I didn't hit that goal because I haven't been doing some of the things I just talked about. If I can do that the rest of the year and I don't get the 400 more units, then I'll be satisfied. If I can be consistent and persistent with my actions, if I can continually call, brokers, meet new people, always keep my eyes out all the time and communication out so I can have these deals coming in. So recently, you were at the meeting yesterday. We were at a meetup, and one of the guys was talking about our friend Brian, who was on this podcast, Brian Doyle, and he got a couple properties just recently because of relationships that he formed, and just being consistent and always, communicating. But the gentleman that Eli, I think it was Eli, mentioned that he, contacted somebody maybe a year ago or something, and they weren't interested in selling that. And he, whatever, finally followed up with them, and they were just about to put the property on the market. And he ended up getting that property under letter of intent. This was a non-listed property. It was not a broker that he called. Well, at least I don't think he didn't say a broker. He just called, I believe, the property owner. That's what you got from it, right?
Yeah, I believe so. Because the owner was about to list it, but figured that he would give Eli a chance at making the purchase. So
yeah, and it wasn't because of Eli's previous attempts to contact him. Now, maybe that helped, but if Eli didn't contact him, this guy would have listed the property. Mm-hmm. And so that just shows you that you need to be consistent, persistent, because if Eli had just, gone about, Brian talked with Eli, and that's what got Eli to think, oh, I need to reach out. If he didn't, well, then, guess what? He wouldn't have got that property under contract. And so it's important to continually build relationships and look for opportunities where others aren't looking. I think that's really important as well. And another person that, goes to that meetings, Stuart, he's bought some properties recently, and I asked him where he's find them. A lot of them have been word of mouth. A lot of them have not been fully marketed and listed properties. And it's just because of the efforts that he's put in. So that's really important. The other thing that I need to do more consistently is just meet people, period. Just go out of my way and meet people that are doing either what I am setting out to do, just meeting just people in general that are doing business, that are good at business, that are in the Twin Cities. I want to meet more local people that are basically kicking ass. That's what I want to do. And I want to get to know people because there's opportunity everywhere. And if people don't know you exist, if they don't think about you, you're not going to have that opportunity come your way. And there's opportunity for them to add value to you, you to add value to them. So it goes both ways. So that's another one of my goals. And it kind of goes along with goal number one, but I just want to be able to meet people here locally. This podcast is great for meeting people. But I want to also build relationships and meet people locally as well. So those are two of my goals that I need to do to end this year really well.
Yeah. I'm reminded of a book. I actually haven't read it, but you heard a lot about it. I think it's the 12-week year.
Okay. No, I have not.
It just talks about, setting your goals for 12 weeks, basically one quarter.
Okay.
Instead of for the whole year, because oftentimes if you set your goals for the whole year, well, half the year can go by and you haven't done anything because you've got a whole nother half a year to go. So the 12-week year, or I think that's what it's called, talks about chunking it down to quarterly goals and then really grinding out in that quarter. So because it's a lot shorter time frame, you get a lot more urgency to get things done. But yeah, this is a great topic to be just kind of reflecting on where we're at, where we should be, and kind of the actions we need to take to get there.
So, John, I kind of sprung this topic on you, so I don't expect you to have anything off the top of your head, but do you have anything right now that you're kind of have been thinking about that you need to step up in order to succeed through the rest of the year?
Yeah, I'm not where I would like to be. I'm not on pace to meet my goals. Sometimes, I set out goals and maybe they're too aggressive, which,
I think
good.
that's a good thing, though.
It's good to challenge yourself.
Yeah.
You have to have a balance between challenge yourself to go beyond what you've been before, but also being realistic. And, there's got to be some sort of balance within there. But as I look back on this first 2 quarters, I think my action items that I've been most successful with have been 2 things. Ones that I have automated to just get done.
Yep.
And then number 2, ones where there's somebody else besides myself who I have to, it's kind of like being accountable to them. But like,
sure.
For example, just this podcast, for example, it's my goal to be consistently putting out content, because we all know that when you do that, you're going to be building rapport with potential clients and existing clients. So I have goals to do that on my own avenues, but me having a weekly appointment with you helps, and maybe it goes the same way with you to me, that we're putting out this content. Granted, this is not necessarily just mine, it's on your podcast, but I'm contributing to it, and I can advertise it, I can promote it.
Yeah.
And but me having this weekly commitment with another person means it gets done. Whereas if I have a weekly commitment just to myself, then I can push it around, I can delay it, I can forget it, that type of stuff. So I think that going forward, there's some other activities that I really should and need to be doing. And I've mentioned before, I have an accountability partner. We do meet typically weekly, but I think I'm going to maybe talk to him about adding some of the same activities that we're both doing and putting a little bit more specific accountability on those activities.
Sure.
So that we both are doing them. So
sure. No, and I like the accountability. The fact that you're not going to miss when we schedule a time. You and I, you're going to take it serious and not going to miss it because you've got another person that you're going to disappoint if you don't. And I mean, obviously things come up, right? We've rescheduled for various reasons, but still, we know that we need to record this episode each week before Wednesday. Otherwise, it's not going to get done. And then obviously the content we're trying to put out isn't going to get put out. And we've got people that want to listen, or at least hopefully want to listen. So it's not going to happen. So we got to make sure we get it done. And so that's important. And having that accountability partner sounds great. The one thing I was thinking when you said that, all that is and I do this, so I'm not ripping on you. But we should have enough respect for ourselves that we don't put things off. Right.
Yeah.
And I do the same thing. I put a lot of things off. So I'm not ripping on you saying that, but when I heard you talking, that's what I was thinking about is, shouldn't we just have enough respect for ourselves where we take ourselves seriously, where we don't have to have somebody to do it. So that's something I got to think about more myself. And as I try to push something off, maybe step back and go, wait a second now. Like, I need to take myself seriously. I've wrote this down. This is on my schedule. Stop BSing yourself and get it done. Right. Yeah. And so having accountability partners, while I agree, it's awesome and it's important. Maybe we have to also reflect upon ourselves and make sure we're being accountable for ourselves as well. Yeah. So,
that goes back to time blocking, which we've talked about before. And I do that to an extent, but sometimes I'm too flexible with myself. I put things on the schedule, but I can move them around.
Yeah.
But, like yourself, like you've mentioned, if I just respect not only myself, but this activity, that it's important enough. If it's important enough to put on my schedule, then it's important enough to keep it on the schedule when it's scheduled to be there.
Yep. Yep.
So.
Yeah. Right. Exactly. And there's a reason it got on your schedule, and it got there because it was important. And like when I time block now, and each week at the beginning of the week, I write down my goals, what I'm going to achieve that week. And then I try to pick out, the most important goals to start on Monday, and do a couple of those goals each day, and make sure. And then one thing like this week and last week that I did is I looked at those goals throughout the week to make sure I'm actually hitting them, and getting my main big goals. I need to get those done every week. If I miss a couple little things during the week because maybe something took longer than I thought, that was one of the big goals, that maybe is okay, but at least make sure you're respectful to your time block of hitting your big goals every week. So,
yeah.
Well, cool. Anything else you want to add, John?
I think that's it for now.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, cool. Well, I sprung it upon you, so I appreciate you just adding anything, because I just kind of sprung this on you. So, so John, we were talking before about, what do we want to kind of talk about this week, and you had something kind of I thought was valuable. So why don't you introduce that a little bit real quick?
Yeah. Well, if anybody out there is somewhat like me, you probably come up with days where you don't really want to get out of bed, or even if you do, you don't want to go to work, or even if you're at work, you don't want to do the things that you're supposed to be doing. So
one of those distracted days, right? One of those days where it's like, let me just look up the score of the football game or the hockey game, or let me go onto YouTube and I'm going to do some business. Oh, I saw this video of this, and
yeah. Or sometimes my wife tells me she's looking for the bottom of Facebook.
Yeah.
There isn't.
Never find that. No. Yeah, maybe you got to go along, but you got to go back to like 2006 or whatever.
Yeah. So I guess the question is, what strategies, what things can you do to kind of get your mind focused and plow through those tough days? What can you do so that it's not a complete waste?
Yeah. So for me, I think everybody gets those days to some degree or another. I don't get a ton of them, but I definitely do get them. I get days where when I look at my, time block, I go, do I really want to do that kind of stuff? First of all, I think having a time block does help, because now you have a schedule of things you're, holding yourself accountable for. You go, okay, this time I do this. So one of the habits that I think has helped me, or does help me, is that I have a specific, morning routine. So like right now, unless it's downpouring, thundering, lightning, I get up and I take my dog for a 15-minute walk every morning. And so that's, that gets me out the door, gets me moving. I think moving is really important. One of the things I used to try to do is I'd try to wake up, then I'd try to read right when I wake up, and I'd fall back to sleep. Every time I'd fall back to sleep. Whether I sat in bed and tried to read, which I tried to do that for a while, that just made me fall asleep even quicker. Or if I got out of bed and then, got ready and then went downstairs and tried to read, I'd still fall back to sleep. So it didn't matter. so I think getting yourself moving, whether that's walking your dog, whether that's working out, whatever it might be, I think waking up before everybody else in the house does, or at least your kids, and moving your body. Then the other thing I do, I still read, but that's after I move my body. Then I read and I reflect, and I look at my goals for the day, and I look at my time block for the day, and make sure that I'm going to, be focused on that. And then reflect upon, my overall goals too. And then I think the other thing that maybe it's, and a lot of this might just be like, mind games you play with yourself, but I drink 2 large glasses of water every morning. And that helps wake me up too, and helps me get energized. And the thing that I've tried to do now lately is to not check my email till at least 9 o'clock in the morning. Because it seems like email can distract you very quickly. At least it distracts me very quickly. I would rather, a lot of times now within the last couple months, I don't check my email. I might check it at 9, 10 o'clock, but I don't go through it all. I just try to quickly go through anything that I think is important. And I might not check it again until later, quite a bit later, 7, or not 7, even later than that, after my kids go to bed, 9 o'clock. Then I check my emails and go through it and answer anything that I think is important, and highlight stuff that I need to get to. So for me, that has helped a lot. You still get some days where you just got the I don't want us. But sometimes honestly, maybe if you have those days that I don't want them, maybe it just is a day that you need to take off. Especially as an entrepreneur. If you've got a full-time job, it's different. I don't want to say it's any easier, because it's a different type of deal. But as an entrepreneur, we don't take a lot of days off. At least I don't. And the most successful entrepreneurs that I know aren't taking a lot of days off. The trips that they take are half business. All that kind of stuff. There's business always going on. So sometimes you just need to stop and actually take a day off, or part of a day. Go golfing, go fishing, go, I don't know, skinny dipping. I don't know what you do on your days off. Yeah. But I think that's important too. I mean, if you're not motivated, sometimes it's just better just to step back and take some time, and then re-energize yourself.
Yeah, those are all really good points. I'm probably going to butcher this story, but I had heard that there was some sort of civilization back in the day that tried to make a 10-day week, and it failed. And you can't quote me on that. I don't know. Maybe I'm just making stuff up, but I had heard it somewhere. But there's something to the routine of having a 7-day week and having one of those days be a day of rest. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So if I think it's easy for us as entrepreneurs to just kind of work, and definitely if you don't give your body a chance to recuperate, your mind to relax, and all that, you're just not gonna be ready for that next day.
Yep. Yep.
So even within the day, we all wish there was 25 or 28 hours in a day, but really we would just fill it up even more. So we only have 24 hours, so let's just use it. I know for me, I need a good 8+ hours of sleep. And some people operate on 3, but I just can't do that. Yeah. So
you've got to know your limits as well. Yeah. I mean, I'm the type of person that needs between 6 and 7 hours of sleep every day for sure. But more like 7. If I can do 6 a couple days in a row and I'm okay and I'm energized. But if I try to do 5 and 6 all week, I'm going to be a bear to deal with. I'm just not going to get a lot done. So yeah, getting rest. I think the other thing too, I've got a bit of a sugar addiction here. And so one of the other things that helps me, I've noticed a ton, is when I don't eat sugar. Um, it just, boy, the energy and how tired you feel. I feel so much more tired when I'm consuming a lot of sugar than when I don't. So I think just eating healthy, exercising, those are massive. Not only are they good for you during that particular day, they're good for you, of course, as everybody knows, for your entire life. So I think making sure you're good with your health is going to only improve your business and only improve your efficiency and your brain. And there's all kinds of studies with sugar and the damages it does to your body in general, to your energy levels, to your, just your overall well-being. And so I think cutting that type of stuff out and then exercising. There was just a little article I read the other day about exercise and how, how much that stimulates your brain. So just that exercise is going to be massive too, to stimulate your brain.
Yep.
Have you, there's some Netflix deals out there about, I can't remember the name of one. I'll have to look them up, but they're about sugar, and the dangers of sugar, and like it's as addictive as like cocaine and stuff.
Sure.
Have you?
I think I've just heard of it. We actually canceled our Netflix subscription, so
that's probably good. Quite frankly, I like never watch it. The only time I pretty much don't watch TV, period. The only time I ever watched Netflix is if in the fall when I'm deer hunting and I process my own meat. Then I will, while I'm processing the meat, I will, watch a Netflix. But it's always something educational. I watched some Tony Robbins Netflix feature last year, and then the year before I watched the sugar thing, and so it's always something like that I'm gonna watch.
Yeah. Well, so far I think we've mostly mentioned a lot of things we can do in preparation for a day to set it up well. But then, and those are all good, and we need to be doing those. So let's just touch briefly on, say something went off schedule and you're just having one of those days. I think just another thing we can do in the midst of a day that we're not feeling like working is taking a moment to sit down. And I say that because I stand at my desk, but to sit down and reflect on, why we're working, why we're in business for ourselves. Our big why for life, our why for this year, our why for this quarter, as we just mentioned. Maybe just kind of reset our mind. Just it can be a minute,
yep,
or maybe 10 minutes or whatever.
Yep.
But that might be just another strategy somebody could use to get back on and finish the day well.
Yeah, sometimes you just need to tell yourself to man or woman up and quit being such a baby. Seriously. I mean, sometimes I've done that to myself plenty of times. It's like you're sitting there going, oh, geez, you know what? You know how many blessings you have in your life? Would you just man up and actually get out there and do stuff and stop feeling sorry for yourself? I've told myself that before, because it's like, what do I have to complain about. I got nothing to complain. I can complain all I want, but there's so many people out there in the world that have it way worse than me, that even no matter how much I want to complain about anything that's, gone wrong with my life, I got nothing compared to others. So, I mean, there's people that are trying to figure out how they're going to survive. How are they going to find their next meal? I got nothing to complain about. So sometimes you just got to tell yourself, you know what? Stop being such a baby.
Yeah, very often our lack of motivation can be
self-inflicted.
Self-pity.
Yeah.
And because of, something's not going my way, or I wish I was doing something better, or whatever. Yeah. So we just redirect that and realize how blessed we are, and think of things that we can be thankful for, and even think about what it is that our business is offering other people. It should be something that's bringing value to somebody else, right? That's why they pay us the big bucks, because they're getting value for whatever our product or service is.
Yep. And
so,
if we're not adding value, we got to figure out what we're doing wrong then, and how can we change it.
Right. Yeah. But if somebody's counting on that value, they're counting on us to do our best.
Yep.
So, and then it just takes focus off of ourselves and how we feel, puts it on the consumer, the customer, our client, and the service that they deserve.
Yep.
So.
Yep. Yeah. The fact of the matter is, every day you're not going to feel like, being at your fullest, but you got to figure out ways to motivate yourself and continue to move on. And if you get into a long period of time where you're not feeling that, you've got to stop and make a change, and, make sure, reflect upon what's going on. And one of the things I think that's helped me too is every morning. A lot of people have gratitude journals. I don't have a gratitude journal, but every morning as I walk my dog, I personally, I pray, but as I pray, a lot of it's just giving thanks and thinking of things I'm thankful for and the blessings that I've had. And then before bed, I do the same thing. So at least twice a day, I'm reflecting upon that. And I think that's really important as well, to understand how truly lucky most of us really are. We maybe have disadvantages that other people, have advantages over us, but likely we've got a lot of advantages over other people, and have had a lot of good things happen in our lives. So,
yeah,
cool. I think that's a wrap, huh? Unless you got anything else to add.
No, that's good for today.
Cool. John, how do people reach out, and how do people share and all that kind of good stuff?
Yeah, you have to know our name, Pillars of Wealth Creation. Just type that in. Type that into Facebook, Google, YouTube, SoundCloud, iTunes, wherever your favorite place to type is, and you should be able to find us there. And we'd love to have your interaction. It's getting a little boring talking to just Todd. No, so we'd like to have you involved with this as well. So it's fun to hear who's out there, and what you've liked about the show, or maybe what you didn't like. We can always improve. So yeah, be sure to find us there on YouTube. You can put your comments right there in YouTube, and we'll see you there.
Yeah, I've had a lot of fun interaction with listeners and with guests as well, and so it's always fun to hear from people who enjoy the show, and it's always fun to hear suggestions. So, like John, like you said, if you got a suggestion, if you got anything you want us to talk about, guests that you want to hear, topics or anything like that, let us know. Go on to Facebook and let us know what you're thinking, what you want to hear about, or YouTube. Those are probably the two easiest ways to communicate with us. And then, share this out. We'd love to, continue to serve and help other people learn. So
Sounds good.
Awesome, John. Well, I will talk to you then next week. And in the meantime, man, make every day Saturday.
You too.
Are you ready to start investing in real estate today, but don't know where to start? Sometimes investing can seem way too complicated, but it actually couldn't be any easier than with homeinvest.com. You know the co-founder and my friend, Nate Armstrong. He appeared on episode 20, and if you haven't heard it, go back and listen to it, episode number 20. Home Invest is a company that allows you to invest in turnkey real estate. Their goal is to build powerful investment tools that make real estate investing accessible to everyone. They have contractors and property managers available for you with the click of your mouse. While other real estate agents can only offer a property, Home Invest brings you a full turnkey package that allows you to diversify your investments, earn passive income, and start building equity in properties. Their simple, intuitive design allows newcomers and experienced investors alike to hit the ground running and to be able to choose the properties when they want and where they want. View easy to understand charts and data to allow you to buy in only a few clicks or just a simple phone call. With Home Invest, you'll be building your portfolio as quickly or as slowly as you would like. And right now, Home Invest is giving our listeners, Pillar of Wealth Creation listeners, a free course on how to finally win in real estate investing. So go to homeinvest.com/pillars. That's homeinvest.com/pillars to claim your free course today.